My name is Rachel, and I'm 27 years old. Imagine working for years, pouring your blood, sweat, and sleepless nights into your dream job, only to have the person you trusted most in the world rip it out of your hands. That person was my sister, and what she did didn't just ruin my career, it almost ruined my entire life. I still remember the day it happened. I was sitting in my office, smiling like a fool, clutching the email I had just received from the company's board of directors. After months of interviews, projects, and proving myself, I was being promoted. It wasn't just a small step up. This was the chance of a lifetime. The kind of opportunity that could set me up for years. And the first person I called to share the news with was my sister, Claire. She squealed on the phone, telling me how proud she was, how I was her inspiration, how she couldn't wait to celebrate. And me? I believed her every word, because why wouldn't I? She was my sister, my best friend, the person who knew all my secrets, my weaknesses, and my dreams. But what I didn't know was that she wasn't celebrating me at all. She was plotting. Before I continue, let me just say this. If you want to see how this story unfolds, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel for more unbelievable family drama stories. Trust me, you won't believe what happened next. A week later, the board of directors scheduled a meeting where I'd officially be announced as the new project manager. I spent days preparing for it. My notes were flawless, my presentation polished. That morning, I stood in front of my mirror rehearsing my speech over and over again until I could say it without a single hesitation. I wanted everything to be perfect. But when I walked into the boardroom, something felt off. The directors were whispering among themselves, glancing at me with strange looks, and then one of them slid a stack of papers across the table. My stomach dropped the moment I read the title. Evidence of Plagiarism and Ethical Misconduct, Rachel Carter. I froze. My hands started shaking as I flipped through the pages. There were screenshots of emails, copies of reports I had supposedly stolen from another employee, along with text messages that painted me as manipulative and dishonest. It was all fake. Every single thing was a lie. I tried to speak, to defend myself, but my voice cracked. This isn't real. I didn't do any of this. But my words sounded weak compared to the mountain of so-called evidence in front of me. The room was silent, except for the sound of one director clearing his throat. Rachel, until we investigate further, we cannot proceed with your promotion. You're suspended effective immediately. Suspended. Just like that. Everything I had worked for, gone. I remember stumbling out of that building, my vision blurred from tears. My phone buzzed in my hand. It was Claire calling. She was checking in, asking me how the big meeting went. And I, naive as ever, told her everything through choked sobs. She comforted me, telling me she'd always be there for me, that she believed in me when no one else did. But deep down, something didn't add up. How did those fake emails and reports even exist? Who could have gotten access to my files, my messages, my work? That night, I locked myself in my room, combing through my laptop. And that's when I noticed something strange. Files missing, documents altered. At first, I thought maybe I had been hacked, but when I dug deeper, I found it. A login record. My account had been accessed from a familiar device. It was Claire's. My heart stopped. My hands went cold. I wanted to deny it, to tell myself there had to be some mistake. But the truth stared back at me on the screen. My own sister had sabotaged me. She had logged into my account, stolen my work, and fabricated lies to destroy my reputation. Why? That question burned in my mind like fire. Why would she do this to me? What could I have possibly done to deserve this kind of betrayal? The next morning, I confronted her. I'll never forget the look on her face when I showed her the login records. For a moment, she looked panicked, guilty. But then she laughed, actually laughed, and said, "Wow, I didn't think you'd find out this fast. I stared at her, speechless. Claire, why? Why would you do this to me? And her answer cut me deeper than the betrayal itself. Because, Rachel, you don't deserve it. You've always had everything handed to you. Friends, opportunities, attention. This time it was my turn. I deserved that promotion, not you. Her words hit me like a punch to the chest. My own sister, my best friend, was jealous of me. Jealous enough to ruin my career. I felt the ground shift beneath me. All the memories of us laughing together, sharing secrets, celebrating birthdays, they shattered in that moment. I realized the person I trusted most was also the one who had destroyed me. But little did she know, I wasn't about to let her win. I couldn't sleep that night. My mind kept replaying her words. You don't deserve it. The betrayal cut so deep that even breathing felt heavy. I sat in my room, staring at my laptop, scrolling through the evidence over and over again. Each screenshot, each altered report, every fake email. It was like Claire's fingerprints were all over my destruction. But the worst part? I couldn't tell anyone. Not yet. Because who would believe me? The board already thought I was guilty. My parents always thought Claire was the responsible one. And me? I would look like a desperate sister trying to blame her own family to escape consequences. Still, I couldn't let her get away with it. The next morning, I walked into the kitchen. Claire was sitting at the table, sipping coffee like nothing had happened. She gave me a fake, sweet smile. "Sleep well?" she asked. I wanted to scream, to throw the cup out of her hand, but instead I forced a smile and said, "Fine." Because I realized something in that moment. If I exploded now, she would win. She'd call me crazy. She'd twist the story, and she'd walk away clean. No, I had to be smart, careful, patient. But patience wasn't easy when my whole life was falling apart. Over the next 2 weeks, I had to deal with the humiliation of being suspended. My coworkers avoided me. My boss, who once praised me, couldn't even look me in the eye. And Claire? She was thriving. Suddenly, she was helping out at the company. Someone had recommended her to step in temporarily for a small project. I didn't even need to guess who planted that idea. I remember scrolling through social media, seeing her post pictures of her new opportunities, smiling, laughing, living her best life on top of my ruin. I felt rage bubbling inside me, but I swallowed it. I told myself, play the long game, Rachel. Don't let her see you break. Then, one night, everything changed. I was lying on my bed, going through my files again, when I discovered something she had overlooked. Buried deep in my cloud storage was an autosync folder, and in that folder were drafts, old versions of the reports Claire had stolen, versions she hadn't altered yet. Side by side, I could compare the original files to the fabricated ones. The differences were undeniable, and there was more. Metadata, timestamps, proof of when the documents were edited, and whose device had accessed them. Claire's device ID was everywhere. I nearly cried from relief. Finally, I had something concrete, something no one could ignore. But I knew just throwing this evidence at the board wouldn't be enough. Claire was clever, too clever. If I didn't handle this carefully, she'd find a way to twist it back on me. So, I decided to set a trap. The next weekend, I suggested we go out for drinks. She looked surprised, maybe even suspicious, but she agreed. I pretended to laugh, to forgive, to act like I was moving on. We sat in a noisy bar, clinking glasses, talking about everything except the elephant in the room. Then, halfway through, I leaned closer and said, "You know, Claire, I've been thinking. Maybe you're right. Maybe I don't deserve everything I've had." Her eyes widened, then she smirked. "See? Finally, you understand." And that's when I pulled out my phone. I had been recording. I asked her casually, "So tell me again, how did you even get into my account? You're not exactly tech savvy." And she laughed. She actually laughed. Please, it wasn't hard. You use the same password for everything. All I had to do was log in, make a few changes, and boom, Rachel's reputation destroyed. Every word was captured, every laugh. I kept nodding, smiling, pretending I was fine. But inside, my heart was pounding. I knew what I had now, undeniable proof. When I got home that night, I listened to the recording 3 times. My hands were shaking, but not from fear this time. From power. For the first time in weeks, I felt like I had the upper hand. But the question remained, what was I going to do with it? Part of me wanted to march straight to the board the next morning and clear my name. Another part of me wanted revenge. Not just to get my job back, but to make her feel the pain she had put me through. Because forgiving her? That was never an option. Not anymore. That night, as I lay in bed, I made a decision. I wasn't just going to expose her. I was going to make sure everyone, our family, my coworkers, the board, knew exactly who Claire really was. She thought she had won. She thought she had destroyed me. But she had no idea the storm I was about to unleash.